Yeah. We get lit, we get fly, we get drunk, we get high, but to the masses, we a podcast called Verified. My name is JopauL. We are brought to you by Radio Pushes and Results in No Hype. We have a man that I don't even know how we can give an introduction to a man that doesn't really need an introduction, but he is the mixtape king of Miami. He should have a block named after him in Miami. He should have a block named after him in Cuba. I mean, without further ado, DJ EFN, the co-host of Drink Champs, legendary podcast. Thank you for coming, my brother. I really appreciate you.
Nah, what up, man? Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for the intro.
Hey, man, listen, I mean, I hope I did it justice because, you know, like to speak the hip-hop royalty, you know, in that fashion.
I appreciate
I
it.
did not want to butcher that shit. I was thinking, like, the whole night, I was like, how the fuck am I going to bring in this legendary guy? Shit. I was like, I need to come up with something good. I was like, all right, let me just stick to the facts. Let me just call it how it is and bring the brother in. So I appreciate it. And in honor of, you know, a Drink Champs legend, I'm going to be drinking my Jack like I normally do.
Drink it up. I'm drinking tea, but I'm with you.
Hey, listen, as long as I know that you're drinking your Modelo's or your Bacardi later, you know, then, yeah, I did my research. I know.
Always. Let me, I want to make sure my audio's good. My audio's good for you?
It sounds perfect. It sounds perfect.
Good.
So
Let's do it.
I guess we'll see in the editing process. You know, I'm praying that it does because, you know, this you know, is going to be my biggest interview yet. So I want to make sure the audio and everything is perfect. So, you know, without further ado.
Thank you for the good words, man.
Hey, no problem. Let's jump into it. So, you know, talk to me about, you know, how you grew up. I mean, I know you, you know, were born on the West Coast and then you moved over to Florida when you were in junior high school. So, you know, talk to me about growing up, you know, talk to me about your parents, you know, your musical upbringing, you know, what made DJ EF. I'm trying to make this interview a little different than the other interview. I mean, I've seen a ton of them. So I'm trying to make it a little different, and I want people to really know who DJ EFN really is, you know, and what made him who he is today. So talk to me about, like, your upbringing, how'd you grow up, brothers, sisters, family, you know, everything, you know. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
I mean, only child, born to two Cuban immigrant parents. Dad was a Vietnam vet, is a Vietnam vet, Marine. Parents broke up mad young, so I was raised by my mom. And LA is definitely, I was born in LA, so that's definitely a part of my roots and a part of who I am. Got family still in LA to this day, was traveling back and forth to LA damn near every year of my life. And no, man, got to Miami, and at first I didn't like Miami because I was from LA, and it wasn't a thing as a little kid of, oh, you know, what city I rep. It was just my friends and my family were in LA, and then I come from the West Coast and that whole environment to Miami, which is like this tropical fucking monsoon rains and hurricanes, and I was like, what the fuck is this shit, you know? The only thing that was familiar to me was the Cubanism of Miami, you know what I'm saying? Like it felt like, you know, that's the only part that felt familiar to me, but otherwise I wasn't feeling it. And, you know, as I got a little older and started to get my own friends here, then Miami, you know, was my home and everything, you know, I rep Miami to the fullest, of course. So yeah, you know, I just raised by a single parent, my mom. I was a latchkey kid. If anybody who doesn't know what a latchkey kid is, basically, you know, as a young kid, my mom's working late nights. You got the key after school. You just go home. You know, you make yourself a little dinner, do your homework, whatever the fuck, you know, or run around the streets or whatever, you know, until mom got home. That's what it was. And then just that's the basics of it, man.
Okay. Now, growing up in Miami, in the heart of Miami, not the, you know, Collins Avenue and, you know, the glitter and glitz, but you were born, you were raised in like kind of like the back alleys of Miami, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
I'm raised in an area called Kendall. And so Kendall has a weird backstory. So if you ask some people, they'll just tell you that Kendall's like a suburb of Miami that they might think is a nicer suburb, maybe. I don't know. But it definitely
I heard the opposite.
No. It is the opposite. But when I was young, you know, I guess because you know when you're poor, or to an extent, you know, your parents always try to make the best of what you have. So you think you look at something else that's even worse off than you, and you're just like, man, you know, thank God for what I got.
Of course.
And you know, and Kendall has its nice areas, and it's like it has its lower middle class to upper middle class area. But come to find out, and it made total sense to me because as a kid, this was the environment that we were growing up in. this was the suburb for the cocaine cowboy drug dealers in
Gotcha.
the 80s. They actually really created this neighborhood, you know, these areas, and this was their stomping grounds. This is where they raised their families. This is where a lot of the if you ever watch the cocaine cowboy documentaries, it starts off
These are the
with
days of like Griselda Blanco.
yeah. Which they all, Griselda, Michael's my homie, her son. They're all from Kendall. They all lived here. The movie starts with a big massacre. They call it the Dayland Massacre. That's the mall that's right here. It's our mall. That's our mall that we frequent. So that's the area that we've come from. But you know, I'm not trying to glorify it one way or the other. You know, some people might.
You're just stating facts.
Yeah. It is what it is. It is what it is. But it made sense to me because that's the type of vibe and the hustler mentality and all the different elements that come with this specific neighborhood in Miami.
Okay. Now, speaking on that, so how'd you gravitate more towards music and not more? Now, I know it's a big, heavy gang culture in Miami, especially, you know, the outskirts of Miami. So how'd you gravitate more towards the music and less towards the gang life, or were you part of that gang life and we just don't know about it?
I mean, when you say gang life, because I don't consider Miami a big gang culture city in terms of like the gangs that I know of, which is the LA gangs and those type of gangs.
But that's why we got you here to set me straight.
Yeah, no, I mean, we have a lot of gangs, and there was a lot of gangs growing up. We had Latin Kings, we had
that's more what I'm speaking on, the Latin Kings.
Yeah. We had Folk Nation, IMP, all these gangs. I mean, they're all probably still around. And it was a lot of that stuff. But these gangs were more, to me, more on some like, again, back. It all goes back to drugs and drug dealing and hustling and that type of vibe. Versus when I think of gangs, like true to life gangs, I'm thinking of like owning blocks, you know, and repping sets and all that stuff. That's not the gang culture here in Miami. So I was in and around that stuff, never really gravitated towards it. I did. At one point I did gravitate towards it, and I had some run-ins with it and beefs. I had tons of beefs with these different various gang members and gangs out here. But
which is weird because you seem like the nicest dude in the world. It's like how could you beef with, you know, DJ EFN, or at least, you know, the how you are received, you know, in today's life is a cool motherfucker. It's like why beef with EFN? It's like
I mean, it wasn't EFN. I was a kid and I was a teenager and doing. I mean, look,
so you were a little badass. Okay.
And I evolved in life, which is what I think that everybody, you know, you hope that you evolve and you're not the same person you were before. And then I'm not saying at all that I was some badass gangster, none of this shit, but I was a kid growing up dealing with, you know, single parent doing the things that I did. You know, and I was in the parent,
only child.
Yeah, I was in the streets. I was in the streets. So, you know, I was as a young kid, I was both bullied and bullying, you know, and then, you know, that's all revolving around the gang culture and stuff like that. So yeah, it was all like, and let me tell you, like the person that I am today, there was points in life where I was just like, why have that like that chip on your shoulder where you want to be mad and you just want to fight everybody over things and just this, that, and the other and intimidate. I was just like, you know what? Fuck all that shit, man. Life's too short for all that shit. Don't get me wrong. My whole thing is respect. You respect people and you expect, you know, you demand respect as well. But
the golden rule.
The golden rule, 100%. But
do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Yeah. But you cross me in a certain way, then we handle it a certain way. And if my company name and everything having to do with my company will show you the birth of where we come from, Crazy Hood Production.
Crazy Hood.
Who's Crazy is the slogan. It came from a place of like a little bit of, you know, violence, instability, and all that stuff.
Okay, all right. I mean, I'm glad you got to that because I was going to ask you, you know, like what was the birth of like who's crazy? Because it's like you seem anything but then again, I haven't been out drinking with you or anything like that.
Right.
So you might be that guy that's like, yo, Joe. You know, I'm gonna go fuck these bitches in their ass right now. You know, I mean, and I know you got a lady, so you know, I'm talking in a completely different light or anything.
Right. No, I could be a wild boy. I could be a wild boy for sure.
Hey, there you go. Listen. Well, I respect wild boys. I'll drink to that. So during your upbringing in Florida, Did your
Yeah.
father have any sort of did you have any touch with him or anything like that, or since your mother left him, it was just you and your mom's?
Yeah, no, my pops was around for a little bit, like in the area, and then he moved on. He moved to New York. He lived in Buffalo for a while, and then he lived in Manhattan for a while, doing some businesses, and then he came back. But we just never. We try to like have a relationship, and to this day, it's still a tough one, for us
Yeah,
to.
I mean, if this is too personal, I mean, like this.
No, no, no.
Let's
I don't. It's an
talk
open
about
book, man. I mean, I talk about it in my films, in the Coming Home films. I went to Vietnam in one of the films, and it was all having to do with following the footsteps of my father during the war, and even if someone picks up my Another Time album artwork, there's a depiction of my life in a cartoon created by Scam in there that gives you a little bit of insight into the stuff with my dad and my parents and all that.
That's I mean, I'm sorry if that was a sore subject. I just feel like it's very.
No.
I mean, and I knew a little bit about it before I asked, but I wanted the viewers to understand that everything that happens. One of the slogans that I have, and part of my podcast is that to regret anything that happened in the past is to not fully appreciate who you are today.
Absolutely.
So I like to bring relevance to what made you into the person you are, as well as the decisions that other people made that might have influenced your different direction. So I like to get a little personal, this way to just keep it a little different. I could have been like, what's your favorite episode of Drink Champs? How'd you meet Nore?
Right.
And which I'm sure you're just totally done, with answering those questions, which I'm going to ask those a little bit later
For sure.
on.
All good.
But yeah, so I wanted to
No,
touch
I'm an
base on
open
that.
book in that sense. I mean, I'm pretty private when it comes to family, in terms of like social media and certain stuff like that. But in terms of my personal life, I'm pretty much an open book, and I use it. I pull from it for my art.
And I appreciate that. And it's weird that you say that, because it's like you wanna. Here's a good topic. It's like you want to keep your personal life kind of private, but yet your personal life isn't private because you have the FatherHood's podcast. So it's like you draw on, as being like a new father,
Absolutely.
on. So do you find that it's kind of weird to balance the levels of privacy and, hey, listen, I got a podcast about fatherhood, and I'm a father, so I'm trying to tell you motherfuckers, so do you find a weird balance to that? And what does your lady think about allowing people kind of into your life in that aspect?
No, she's cool with it. She loves it, actually. But it is an awkward balancing act, and it still doesn't feel normal sometimes to talk about personal life. Like, even sometimes, because I'm talking to friends on FatherHoods. Shout out to my boy KGB and Manny Digital. So when I'm talking to them, and forget that the microphones are on, and I might, like, I'm not used to talking about like naming my kids' names or whatever, or my girl's name, and I'll say their names, and then you kind of back your mind like, damn, do I want to say their names in public?
Timestamp, delete, edit.
Yeah, no, we keep it in there. I'm just like, whatever happens. But it's still awkward for me, and it's not just that it's awkward for me. I have two sides to me. There's the side that is totally about, public and pushing the art and promotion and marketing. I'm big on all of that, and using these free social media platforms to push what you're doing. But then I have the side of me that sees the downside of all that stuff and the negative side of all that stuff. And then the people out there that are just, not right in the mind, that try to leverage those things against you sometimes,
Oh man, don't I know it? I mean, I came up kind of I've been in the industry for, close to like 20 plus years. So it's like, I grew up in the internet, like the pre-internet promoting era.
Yeah.
Right into the internet promoting era, from Napster and Kazaa and LimeWire.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the days when like you download a song and would give your computer AIDS? Oh
Yeah.
man, I miss those days, man. But so I kind of understand how it is, so I started, my career at a very early age, while the internet was evolving, and I always wanted to keep a certain part of my personal life private, even though I'm trying to get you guys to love me and, and to understand who I am as an artist,
Right.
so that you can respect the art that I have, or whatever I'm trying to give you, and hopefully you'll buy it. So it's like, it's tough to, you know, create that balance. And I remember a time, you know, when I was a lot younger, and I was, I mean, I wouldn't say I was ever famous or anything like that, but I was recognized in a bunch of places. And I
Right.
remember like I was going through the, going through the mall, and I had to like buy like a suit or something for like a prom. And I saw like a whole bunch of girls that were like, "Oh my God, that's Lyric." I went by a different name back in the day. So it's like, I always was like, okay, do I want this life? How can I keep this kind of private? Do I need to not go out and stuff like that? So I kind of understand where you're coming from, where you know, you have to find a happy balance, you know, in doing that. So
Right,
what made you?
and maintain. Sorry to cut you off, but also maintaining your identity. Like, I don't like fronting for social media, fronting, you know, this, that, and the other. So that's the other part of the balance, that you want to maintain, you know, your authenticity and honesty of who you are. Where a lot of people, it's easy for them because they'll just front all day long. They put up a
It's a,
facade. I
it's a
can't stand doing that. You
it's
know.
a fucked up world, man. Like
Yeah.
it's so tough when, you know, and I know that we came up in the golden era of hip
Right.
hop. So it's like, we were from an era where if you had a gimmick about you, you were looked at as like a clown.
Complete.
Now
Yeah.
it's like you kind of have to have a gimmick to kind of go viral to get
Right.
the attention amongst all of this. So I mean, it's a disappointment, to tell you the truth, because like
Yeah, it
we've
is.
gotten away from like real good quality music, or what the general standard is of good quality music. I mean, I'd love to just go back to the days of boom bap, and you know, thank God for Griselda, you know, and you
Right.
know, shout out to, you know, Benny the Butcher, and you know, Conway and West Side Gun. You know, the fact that they're bringing that back. I mean, I'm from Staten Island, so it's like I'm,
Right.
you know, I was born and bred under Wu-Tang, you know, so I'm a, you know, boom bap rap fanatic. So it's like the fact that they're coming, you know, so hard in the game, I could appreciate that, you know, that authenticity is coming back, and it's less gimmicky, you know, or at least if you
Yeah.
have bars anyway. If you have bars and substance, totally different story. You know, I
Right.
mean,
Right.
it's completely different. But yeah, anyway, so pushing on. Sorry to get off topic.
No. You good.
So who gave you the name Drink Champs? I mean, I heard the backstory that like basically within your clique, it's like if you couldn't drink and you like passed out, you were not a drink champ. So it's
Right.
like, you know, so who kind of coined the phrase? Was it you, or you know, was it somebody else? Talk to me about how
Nah,
the birth of that
you know
came
what?
out.
I couldn't honestly tell you the exact person. I just know it was something that in our crew we were saying all the time. You know, in our studios here at Crazy Hood, and in the studios down the street from where I'm at right now. I'm at my other studio now. But yeah, man, it was just something we used to say all the time. You know, you got too fucked up, you couldn't handle your liquor, you're not a drink champ.
Okay,
And I
okay.
just thought that was such a dope term that I was like, let me just see if anybody has the .com and the handles, and just out of curiosity. And I'm like, nobody's got this shit. And I didn't know what it would become. And I just grabbed it all up, man. I was like, let me just take this.
Oh, that was smart, baby.
Yeah.
That was a smart business move right there.
Way
And
years before we turned it into Drink Champs, the podcast.
listen, that's a great story. Now I see my boy Rob Love just joined, and he had a question. He wanted to know, why Bacardi? Why was Bacardi the drink
Rob,
of
what
choice?
up? Does he hear me?
I think I put him in listen only mode. I'm not
Okay,
I'm
okay.
not sure. I'm still learning this technology thing, and I wanted
All
to ask
good, all
you
good.
about that technology thing. But yeah, I was talking to him before, and I was like, give me some like crazy stories about, you know, EFN, you know, or you know, what should I talk to him about? And he said, Bacardi. Why Bacardi?
Yo, that's all I was ever known for, was drinking Bacardi. I mean, maybe it's because I'm Cuban. I don't know the stereotype, but it's just Bacardi rum was just something that I just grew up on, and it was like my blood. I was
Okay.
bleeding Bacardi, and everywhere I went, I met up with anybody, I had a bottle of Bacardi. I didn't smoke. I mean, I smoked when I was younger. It wasn't my thing, so everybody was smoking around me. I'm like, all right, y'all smoke. I'll bring my bottle of Bacardi, and that's all I ever had. You know, I traded it out now for my own brand of Colombian White with my homies out here that we have our own liquor. But yeah, man, Bacardi, that was all day, every day I had Bacardi on me.
Okay. All right. I'm surprised that you don't have like your own brand of Tiger Bone, because you guys rep the
We looked
shit
into
out of
it.
that.
We looked into it, but it's a little dicey to get that connection from China, because we wanted the real
Especially
Tiger
now,
Bone.
you know.
Yeah. Oh no, now we can't even get Tiger Bone now.
Oh man, you guys should have stopped. I mean, I know I heard you guys talking about it. You were like, the last bottle, you know,
I have one
coronavirus.
bottle here in front of me right now.
Yeah.
It's a souvenir.
Yeah, yeah. Don't even open that. You could probably
Nah.
auction that shit off for fucking millions, like the charity and stuff like that. Oh my god, that's crazy. So, talk to me about how you first met Nore. I mean, I've heard the backstory, and for anyone that wants to know the story, there's a ton of interviews where he talks about it. But of course, I'm going to ask, because Nore is one of my favorite artists. I grew up, listening to CNN. First time I heard Bloody Money, I was hooked. And
Right.
hook, line, and sinker. Like, I've been a diehard Nore fan, my whole life. And the fact that, that I'm so close with my boy Shampoo, and that, how him and Nore are so close. It's just like, yo, yeah, I was like, you're friends with a fucking legend right there, So it's like I still get starstruck, when I see him and stuff like that. So, it's a pretty cool
he's a
thing.
legend. Yeah, for sure. It's a long story. I'll just try to give you the beginnings of it, but it goes back to when he was on the promo tour for the CNN album, and Pone was locked up. And, this is what, 96, 97?
97.
So in those days, I had a store called Crazy Goods. So that's the backstory. It was a hip hop clothing store. I had a record pool there and all of that. It was my office for everything. So in those days, when you were going to go do a show, you did in-stores in whatever city you went. It wasn't like the internet wasn't the way to get it popping. You went to do in-stores. So my homie who was doing the promo for that party they were doing, where Nore was going to do a walkthrough for the CNN album promo, my boy Phil the Mayor, who now does Live on Sundays, the famous Live on Sundays now. Phil's a huge club promoter, world renowned now. So he brings them through my store. I had this digital 4-track where I used to get all my freestyles for my mixtapes in the back of the store. Nore comes in, they introduce him, boom, boom, we hit it off, give him the mic, headphones, beats already queued up, starts dropping freestyles. And we just hit it off, man. We just got cool. His manager at the time, Martin Moore, we got cool. His Uncle Waz was there. We just got cool. And then he went to New York, and we just kept like in contact. And then I did the first solo show when the NRE album dropped. I brought him down for his first solo show in Miami.
Oh,
and that solidified everything. And from that point on, we were just like his crew, thugged out, Militainment, thugged out at the time before the Militainment was added. And then Crazy Hood, we were just all one big family, and we were just, unified in that sense.
No, that's awesome. And you know why I think you guys get along so well? I mean, I had this kind of epiphany. Now, I'm a huge Drink Champs fan, and I gotta say, salute to you guys, because what you guys have done to get me through this fucking pandemic is tremendous. It's like the need for content, and good quality content, that you actually are interested in.
Appreciate it.
Single-handedly got me through. So, I mean, I live alone, what I'm saying? So it's like I'm single, and it's like the only thing that I can do, while I'm staying in place, because, I want to keep everyone safe. And I do preach the fuck out of wear a fucking mask and stop listening to fucking those channels that fucking don't tell you the fucking truth. So it's like the fact that you guys have got single-handedly, a couple other podcasts, but you guys have got me through this whole pandemic. I so appreciate that. So I appreciate, the quality content, that you guys offer. So, so pushing on. So with regards to how you and Nore solidified, each other, what I was touching base on before, I think the reason why you guys get along so well, you guys have a higher level of understanding of passion when it comes to music and hip hop.
Right.
There's now I'm an artist, so it's like I feel like I'm right there, but it's like we feel music differently. We understand music differently. We understand the blank canvas that the artist is painting, the entire fucking painting, for us to see the entire picture. We feel that much more than others. And I feel that you and Nore have such an equal understanding and passion and appreciation for music. That's why you guys fuck with each other, and your vibe is just natural, and it's just ill. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when I see you guys, how you guys converse, on the podcast, it's effortless. So I can appreciate that. So salute the Drink Champs, because you guys have got me through some fucking rough fucking nights.
Appreciate that, man.
Now, I know everyone asks you like, what's your favorite episode and stuff like that. I want to talk about what was like your most awkward episode. Now I kind of already know which one it is, but I'd like.
Yeah, now I know off the top.
Yeah. Now I don't know if you guys are allowed to talk about that or anything like that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. So what was the most awkward episode that you've ever had to endure?
Hands down is Lamar Odom. Hands down, yeah.
Which I knew it. I fucking knew it. Now,
yeah.
Here's my question now, and I'm sure like people have beat you to death on this. Now, we all know that he's like a recovering addict.
Correct.
Is it weird to kind of pass him weed or pass him liquor? Like almost like, you know, it's like to a sex addict, like, you know, like dangling pussy right in front of their face, you know, like they're not allowed to do. Or like to a heroin addict saying, here you go, you know. So isn't that, did you guys feel any, I know this is a fucking weird topic. I'm sorry, I've been drinking since early.
No. It's perfectly fine.
I'm gonna ask the weird question. I'm gonna hate myself later for asking it. You know, how the did I just ask him that stupid shit?
No. But, I don't mind. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's real. Like, yeah. Look, I was cringing during the episode. You know, when Nore was asking him a couple times to do something. But this is the thing. This is the stance that we going into it. This is the way we looked at it. I personally, and I could say this for Nore as well, we love it when non-drinkers or non-smokers come to the show, and because drink champ doesn't mean you have to be a drink champ. We're the ones drinking. We're the drink champs. So we're more than happy to have people who won't drink, won't smoke, and I think that's an amazing example to people out there who are struggling with substance abuse or alcoholism, so that they could see someone that's sitting there at a table where these people are drinking and smoking, and they don't have to do it. We had Royce the 5'9" recovering as well. We've had Crooked Eye. We've had Fat Joe didn't drink like the first episode he was on Drink Champs, or maybe a couple. You know, there's been a couple people that didn't openly talk about not drinking, but they told us before the show, like, hey, I'm not going to drink. And we were completely fine with that.
Of course. So when he started like smoking, you know, and started, you know, taking like, you know, shot after shot after shot, you know, were you getting a little worried? Like,
I'm worried, but I'm also saying to myself, he's here with like 10 or 15 of his peoples.
Okay.
You know,
so
like,
it's like they could take care of him, you know, if he gets, you know, like,
yeah, I'm not his, you know, I'm not his parent. I'm not his agent. I'm not, you know, I can't, you know, he's a grown man. He could, trust me, like I said, I'm cringing at some of it happening as it's happening. And you might even see an episode I even say like, hey, you know, maybe I'd tell Nore like, nah, chill. Like when he was offering him something. But Nore doesn't do that in a sense to push it on people, because he does that to everybody as a joke on the show. Like, yo, you want smoke? Yo, you want this? You know, we even have a joke like, you want some heroin? You want some cocaine? And I'll be like, nah, I just did opium earlier. Like we're joking. It's just
like I'm already on acid. It's like,
yeah, it's comedy. We lean on a comedy show type vibe. That's our vibe. And so yeah, so when it went that left, it's sad. It was sad to watch. It was like watching a slow, you know, car crash. And that was the most awkward Drink Champs probably to date.
I would say so. I mean, also the most intriguing, because it's like, you know, we kind of want, it's like in the era of like chaos, it's like you are kind of behind the binoculars of the car crash, and it's like you kind of just want to watch, and it's like, yeah, Lamar Odom is a lot of people's heroes, and it's like, you know, we've seen him, you know, on the Kardashian show and stuff, so we wanted to see, and plus you guys marketed it fucking phenomenally. Like, you know, you marketed it like
Nore really pushed that one on the marketing side.
Hey, listen, and it worked too. It was yo, is Lamar Odom and Nore gonna square up right now? Yeah. Like, are they gonna get up and duke it out? I mean, personally, I think Nore. I mean, I know, you know, Nore's father was a boxer, so I know Nore could throw them hands. So it don't matter how big Lamar.
No, but we wouldn't have let it get to that anyways. Like, that's not gonna happen at Drink Champs, you know.
Right, but the way you marketed it, though, we did not know until we saw it, and it was a phenomenal episode. So I mean, all of them, you know, are phenomenal. I mean, I appreciate the platform that you guys have. My favorite episode personally was Irv Gotti. I've never
it's always fun with Irv.
I've never laughed so hard in my fucking life to Irv Gotti. I think it was the second. He's been on a couple times, but I think it was the second interview that he did. But I honestly, I've never laughed so hard in my fucking life. And shout out to Irv Gotti, shout out to Chris Gotti, and my prayers go out. I heard that their father is sick, so I want to make sure that I send my prayers out there. I don't know anything else. I don't want to speak on it, but prayers for the whole Lorenzo Gotti family. Love y'all, and I wish a speedy recovery. So here's a question. So why Revolt? Why'd you guys just decide, I know you guys could have done, any platform, out there. So what was like the big thing with settling with, and I don't want to say settling because Revolt, is great, but like, what were the kind of deals that were like thrown in your way that just did not make sense, did not feel good, and you were like, you know what, this is the direction that we want to go? I
mean, I don't know that there was plenty of TV linear platforms that at the time would have taken on a Drink Champs. Remember, we signed as an audio podcast to CBS Radio, and the ill shit is, I remember that first fucking meeting that I sat down and we were signing the deal with CBS Radio, and I told them right off rip, this is a TV show. You guys are CBS. I know you're CBS Radio, but let's talk about upstreaming this to TV, even if it's on some on-demand, app shit. But let's talk about this now. And they, they're such a big corporation, and CBS Radio is different from CBS TV, that whatever. It never saw that. It never made those moves there. But we always saw it as a TV show as well as a regular audio podcast. And so I had already had my documentary series running on Revolt. They had licensed my first couple films by the time that Drink Champs got to Revolt, which is the Coming Home documentary series. My first film about Cuba was the first original content acquisition that they got when they launched Revolt in 2013. Like besides playing music videos and stuff like that, I was the first original content that they licensed. So I already
That's pretty dope that they took a chance, on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I imagine you had like kind of like a sense of like loyalty, like like they picked up like my first film, like it's like Puff,
Well, I mean, I don't want to get it twisted. There's a sense of loyalty, but there was also the sense of we already had the direct line of conversations with them. Shout out to our homie Ramon Dukes, who's the one that took my documentary films over there, and then he's the one who started the conversations about Drink Champs. And then of course Nore is friends with Puff, and Nore also knows Ramon. So all these things made the conversations a lot easier, but at the same time, the business was good. Like, I don't want to get it twisted that we're just doing these deals because it's just purely based off of we're cool with people or the brand or whatever. No, these were good business deals that benefited us.
Right. The bag got to be there regardless of it. And loyalty is one thing, but to change, like, pay the man.
Yeah. So when we started Drink Champs, it took 6 months for CBS to sell advertising, and we didn't see a penny. For 6 months. So by the time the shit started rolling in, we knew the value of it. We were making sure that we were grabbing every bag available out there that was available to Drink Champs. We knew what this brand was, what it was doing for the culture, what it was doing for other artists, and inspiring a whole hip hop podcast movement. And we wanted to make sure we're ahead of the curve and we're benefiting from it. And to this day, thank God that's the case.
I mean, and I appreciate it like so much, because it's like, it's the golden era of hip hop that you're interviewing our like icons, and we want to know shit about them, And and I saw on I forgot which episode you were like, we need to get Cypress Hill over there. So I recorded that shit. I DM'd Be Real immediately.
Yeah,
I was like, Drink, and with a big Drink Champs needs you. He hasn't opened it yet, so I hope he. Shout out to Be Real. Shout out to Cypress Hill.
Legends. That's actually the neighborhood that I'm from in LA is the neighborhood that they're kind of from. I lived in Southgate, which is the area they're kind of from. Yeah.
Exactly why.
They're Cuban.
Yeah, I mean, they need to come on your show. Like, I mean, there's certain artists that that I'm waiting for you guys to do, like, kind of outside the hip hop genre. Like, I think it would be kind of cool if you had Madonna on the show.
Oh, I would love to have. My stance is anybody and everybody out there that will have a good conversation with a fun conversation, because really and truly everybody has a hip hop story. whether they're fans of the music and they can talk about it from that point of view, or they had, you know, some kind of business dealings or collaborations or whatever. Everybody has a hip hop story. And I just think
there's so many people that have so many firsthand stories to the game. It's like, and the fact that you guys give them their flowers while they're here with so many people, you know, early deaths and demise and murders and whatever, drug overdose and COVID. It's like the fact that you guys honor these people and give them their flowers. It's the most beautiful thing in the world. So it's like, I want to see, you know, there's so many artists that have so many or so many people that are still around that have like my homegirl Heather Hunter. She like used to hang out with Tupac.
She would be ill on Drink Champs.
Listen, you let me know. I'll make one phone call and I'll have that shit set up.
That would be a fun episode for sure.
Shout out my girl Heather Hunter.
Her stories would be crazy. I remember seeing her at How Can I Be Down convention in Miami Beach, wilding out. I remember those days.
I remember watching the Soul Train episode where she was fucking dancing down the fucking aisle. So, you know, she's a staple to the hip hop community. She also, you know, had remember the first record she came out with. Oh, and speaking about that, you know, shout out to Special K and Teddy Ted. They said special shout out. They were like, DJ EFN showed us mad love. Like, he's one of the coolest guys in the world. One of the, you know, the original mixtape king of Miami. So
those guys are super legends, man. My hat's off to them always. Trust me, like, and they stay in contact all the time, and there's just, those guys are just fucking uber legends, man. You know, hats off to them for sure.
And so cool that they're not like, I mean, I hang out with Ted, you know, like every time like Heather has a party, you know, me and Ted are, and we always tell, you know, like goofing that K doesn't come, you know, but it's like, you know, we understand he's doing things, you know, and hustling around. But, you know, me and Ted, you know, like chill all the time. One of the coolest brothers. They're so humble too. It's like they don't be legends that don't fucking front like that.
But you see, that's where I get it from. Like, those are the type of people that I looked up to, and that's what I was aspiring to be like them. Like, I want to be as humble. You know, there's just no reason not to be humble. To be quite honest with you, because life will fucking humble you.
You attract more peace with honey than vinegar any day.
Yeah. So
it's
yeah,
like,
man.
Don't pay to be a dick. You know, like the reason why I've had longevity in this industry, you know, and I'm not famous or anything like that. So I've just been nice to everyone. It's like I've never crossed anyone. I've never had a reason to, you know, really go at, you know, don't get me wrong, I was a wild kid and I did some fucked up shit, but it's like I never felt the need to actually pursue anything on a level of, you know, let me take it to, you know, a different level right now. So let me just be nice to everyone, get in where I fit in. And the reason why I've been able to sustain, you know, the route that I you know, the 20 years that, you know, I've been, you know, here, you know, plus a rebrand, is the fact that I've just been that cool motherfucker. I've never crossed anybody, and I've just been a nice guy. So shout out to, you know, Special K, Teddy Ted, two humble brothers, and they send all the salute in the world.
No, right back at them.
So, and I know I've taken up a bunch of your time. So, like I said, whenever you need to go,
I got a good little bit of time left.
Listen, I do the Drink Champs podcast. I get interviewed by everyone. It's time to go. Okay, so you know, or if you want to switch the T to, you know, Michelob or, you know, or Modelo's or Bacardi or whatever, you know. So, anyway, the fact that you have this huge platform, where do you see it going from here? Is there a next level that you can take this to?
Yeah, we've been talking for a long time about our own network. But truly, to me, Drink Champs is just a global brand that can be taken globally in different capacities. And just, I don't want to talk too much ahead, because this is just me, the way that I try to do things. I try to not talk about things before we do them, and make sure that we set everything up and the foundation for successful launch of whatever the fuck we're going to do. But I just think that Drink Champs is a brand that should outlive the actual show itself. Okay. And there's no reason that brand can't move on without the actual podcast having to always be around. Not to say that it won't be around. I'm just saying.
Don't you guys go nowhere.
No. I just say
very, very upset.
The idea for you know, as we get older, is that this is a brand that definitely lives on and brings in residuals. And then we have the Smoke Champs brand as well. That's another sister brand of Drink Champs. And so there's just, you know, to me, sky's the limit with the brand.
And it looks like you guys are doing phenomenal. So I salute you guys and everything that you guys do. A couple more things that I want to touch on. From now you're recognized as like the king of the Miami mixtape. And like I said, I grew up in the golden era of hip hop. So
Right.
I just have to ask. So why have they not named the street after you already?
Maybe because I'm a mixtape dude. We stay underground. That's just basically is all it is.
Yeah, but you're the streets, so the streets deserve a
Right.
name. So
Maybe
like,
one of these days in Kendall, they'll pop up with a street for me.
like a DJ.
Someone needs to advocate it.
Listen, I'm advocating for it. You motherfuckers know this is the verified podcast, so we're verifying everything we do. So name a street after the brother. Like, come on now. Like, I mean, 25 plus years in the game doing it. So
yeah, they name the streets after all the people I helped out. So yeah, I'll take a street.
Exactly. Part of the foundation. And part of what I like to do here on the Verified Podcast is basically I like to give my flowers to people too. It's like I've been connected to a lot of different people, as you see with like the, shameless name drops, that I did. Shout out to all my people,
Right.
So it's like I want to be able to, learn more about, who you are as a person, what made you who you are. So hopefully that inspires people that watch this and say, oh shit, look what he had to, endure, from single parent, only child, had to move, bi-coastal, and leave everything that he knows to all of a sudden being the co-host of the most legendary hip hop podcast that the world will ever know. Right. It's like, so it's possible, things can happen,
possible, yeah.
So I do appreciate, the fact that you have taken your time out, to share your story with us. The last thing that I want to mention is, or ask you, I like to ask my guests, what's one thing that's not documented that nobody knows about? I know this might get a little personal, but what's one thing about yourself that you feel was very, very crucial to who you are as a person today? So it can't be documented, because if I Google it, then I'm gonna lose respect.
That's a tough question because there's just so many life events that are not documented that create who we are. I can't really pinpoint it to just one. It's just so many things that have happened over the years, but I mean, that's not documented. I don't know, man. I mean, I would say one thing is, so I had this is kind of goes with the times right now. I had a run-in with the police where I got my ass whooped basically by the cops. And it was during this whole, I don't know if you remember, you should probably remember this. Remember the Elian situation that happened in Miami?
Of course.
So I actually want to create a short film about this and write something having to do with this story. So I'll give you a short version of it. But there were all these protests going on in Miami when they had took Elian out of the crib and sent him back to Cuba. And, Cubans in Miami were up in arms about it. I wasn't I wasn't into it at the time. Like I knew what was going on. I had my opinions on it, but not to the point where I was going to go and protest about it. But I was like, you know what? This is history. I'm a big history guy. Like I love history. So I was like I felt like we were living history at the time. And my homie Garcia, who's one of the MCs that was in my crew, he's like, hey man, let's go check out one of these protests that are happening right down the street from us right now. And I was like, I don't know. He's like, come on, man. You into history, man. This is like, you live in history right now. I'm like, all right, man, let's go check it out. So we go to this protest, and it was nothing but love. It was people banging pots and pans and dancing in the street. They were slowing down the traffic. So long story short, the riot police come in. They clear everything out. Everything's done. I'm trying to leave. The cops that are there close to where we're trying to cross the street to get back to our car, like, nah, you can't go there. You can't wait till the riot police come in. It's like 100 riot police, all across the street, like in a line. And they start coming back to where they had started, which was close to where we were waiting. And then they start chasing us. So when I say us, and I'm not telling the story properly because I'm thinking that I'm trying to create this little documentary about it, but we're a group of people that the cops have told in a corner, wait until the riot police come back. And it's comprised of me, my homeboy, a pregnant lady, her husband, an old couple, and a little kid. So imagine 100 riot police all of a sudden running at that group of people. It's like, what, 6 people? 100 riot police? I was like...
So similar to somebody who needed to cross the street to hold up a Bible to take a stupid picture in front of a church, just knocked over,
Right.
a bunch of protesters for no fucking reason whatsoever.
So that's what, you
picture it because I've seen it.
Yeah. So 100 riot police are running at us, and I'm in a moment, I'm looking at this and I'm like, what the fuck are they finna do right now? Like, what are they about to do? Like, who are they chasing? They're coming at us. And then I see the cop that was telling us to wait. He just walks off, and then they come, and I tell my boy, run. So I start running, and I don't know what happens to the people behind me. And this one cop gets a beat on me, and he's like tearing off all the layers of the riot gear he has on so he can run and catch up to me. So he's like, he throws his shield, he takes off the helmet, he's throwing things off, and then finally he catches up to me. He puts a good whooping on me, like, wow, he's fucking me up. I'm thinking he's gonna kill me. That's how much he's fucking, and the dude's, he's Latino, I'm Latino, so you know that whole thing about the white, whatever. Like, I'm like, yo, what are you doing, man? And then they take me and then they put me in the paddy wagon, and they try to break my wrists. When they put the zip ties, they try to break it. So they do it. They fuck your wrist up so it swells up with the zip ties. So they put the zip tie tight, then they try to fuck your wrist up so it swells up and you're in deep pain. Then they put you in the paddy wagon.
I've never had zip tie. I've only had metal cuffs.
I've had those too, but the zip ties are terrible. I'm
not just talking about in the bedroom. I'm talking about
So anyways, and there's a whole bunch of series of events that happen around this thing where, like, we end up being, me and my boy they purposely throw us in a cell of all Haitians, because at that time everybody was hating the Cubans in Miami because of them stopping the city. And so they throw us, and if anybody knows about Miami, JopauL is like the Haitian mob, crew out here. But and so they threw us in there hoping that we would get our ass whooped, but turns out we were good. And it's just a whole bunch of shit that happens around that. And the reason why I picked that story as one of the pivotal things for me is because if you're raised Cuban American, the era I come from, that my parents came here from Cuba, they tend to raise their kids kind of right wing, like Republican, and they're so they're so grateful to be in this country, which I understand 100%. So they're very like America could never do no wrong in their mind, and that's why. Right. So then I take that moment as a total. I'd already started shifting some of my ideologies, but it was a total mind shift for me. And to say, like, this is really the country we live in that we need to understand. And I try to tell people a real patriot speaks out against what's wrong about the country, not fucking sitting there and sugarcoat it and put a Band-Aid and pretend like everything's fucking honky-dory. And you got to look at everything with historical context to understand what the fuck is going on now, because you can't just look at it for what it is now. You got to see the whole history behind it. And so that was a big pivotal moment that's undocumented, that I do plan on doing something to like, tell that story that happened to me, man.
I appreciate you sharing, and the fact that you broke it here with us, I greatly appreciate it, man. That was that was an excellent story. You painted a great picture so people can understand that there's struggles that we all face, and like I said earlier, to regret any decision that you made, similar to you going out, and protesting, and going to kind of live history in the moment, with
right.
Gonzalez, it's like to regret a moment that or a decision that you made in the past is to not fully appreciate who you are today, So it's like
right.
So kind of love yourself, love the, experiences that you went through, preach to others. So hopefully they can make the right decisions, and they're moving forward, So in final words, the fact that, you are at such legendary status and you gave me, so much time, I'm fully appreciative. I'm a huge fan of the podcast. I wanted to go on for, like you said, I wanted to, live, past, anything and go on for the next 100 years, hopefully, similar to how Jeopardy will just never, ever die out. So, So
For
drink
sure.
champs is synonymous with, you know, hip hop, and, you know, you are royalty. So I want to give you your flowers and say, I salute you, you know, everything you stand for, you know, and I appreciate the contribution that you've made, you know, to hip hop, because it's history. So when the, you
Appreciate
know,
it.
when the Hip Hop Hall of Fame, you know, has its inductees, you will definitely be in there. So, so once again,
Thank you,
I
dog.
salute you, my brother. Tell everyone where they can find you. You know, this is, you know, this is the one and only DJ EFN, who's crazy, but, you know, let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, I mean, my company's site, crazyhood.com. And actually, if you want to check out some of the films that I mentioned, crazyhood.com/films. And then drinkchamps.com and at drinkchamps for everything, and at DJ EFN Twitter, at Who's Crazy Instagram.
Listen, I appreciate, you know, everything you've just done, and I'm completely lit right now. I have no idea how I'm going to function for the rest of the day, but I'm a drinker though, so I'm just gonna smoke another blunt,
Yeah, do
maybe
your
jump in the
thing.
shower, pour another drink, and listen, wherever the fucking night goes, it doesn't matter. I mean, this is hip hop, so we do whatever the fuck we
My
want.
G, 100%.
So my name is JopauL. This is the Verified Podcast, brought to you by Radio Pushers and Results No Hype. We were just chopping up with DJ EFN. I salute you, my brother. Thank you so much for your time, and we out of here.
Peace, G.
Peace.